the rationalinvestor.com's daily brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the rationalinvestor.com's daily brief. Let's see. We got a dozen people over there. Hey, there's a couple people. Brian has been a bad boy. No super chat. Yeah, did we ever figure out what's going on with that, Chris? Did you find out what the status of all that? Oh, somebody had a pin mailed to them. Oh, that's bizarre. All right. Well, anyway, you know how that all that goes with Big Brother. Anyway, happy. Where are we here? It is the 5th of July. We are midweek, Wednesday. We've finally come back after that kind of screwy holiday weekend experience there. And actually, interestingly enough, when it comes to something like Bitcoin, what I was actually posting in the room this morning was this to me looked like I see this happen a lot. In fact, like I've been watching Bitcoin, of course, for the past 5-10 years now. Something like along these lines. So this is what I actually posted aloud this morning. You better have that car back in the garage with a full tank of gas when your mother and I get back from our trip. So I don't know if anybody remembers that sort of reference. That's sort of like a total 70s, 80s kind of reference. I don't even know if family life is even like that anymore. Anyway, teenager gets the car, goes out. But it better be back in the garage in one piece with no scratches or dents and a full tank of gas. And I think that's exactly what happened here. Of course, there is your SEC bombshell. And I do think that the smart money is short now off of these M tops. I think clearly there's quite a bit of Bitcoin for sale when we get up top there. But following that SEC event, the market just drifted right back up to the top end of the range. And then basically halfway through the holiday session yesterday, they topped the market out and they brought it right back down to where they took it out on Friday. So I think basically the whole holiday weekend was just a big hurry up and do nothing. Been sort of talking a little bit about this with site peeps of late, and of course anybody will listen on social media. I think probably this Litecoin has had its run, and usually what ends up happening with Litecoin is it tops out about somewhere around a month or so ahead of its halving event. So you can see it is starting to come off in earnest. There was somebody recently who asked me, well, is this thing a sell? And I was like, well, I don't have any M's or anything, but you can see it's just sort of straight lining here. I suppose Litecoin does have a history of just V tops and just V bottoms. Very violent price action. I mean, I do like the idea of Litecoin having a bottom working off of these levels down here, but could you see the price of this thing fall in half from where it is currently? I don't know whether it falls in half or not, but I could definitely see a revisit of these key support levels here. So this morning it was just like Litecoin just kind of just melting down. In fact, I think actually that was even sort of the message I was putting out on the site. The issue here is, which screen do I have all this on? So for the Litecoin fans, actually I got to give a shout out to Adam. I had bought a little bit of this VGX and then I found out it was in Chapter 11 bankruptcy and it started to melt down even further. And Adam was like, well, you know, what the hell? I stepped in, took a little shot off this thing off the bottom, and it's worked its way back up. I don't know whether the fundamental story has changed at all or not for that thing, but anyway, Adam did say he bought a little bit there recently, so I want to give him a shout out. Here is that Litecoin chart. So is that starting to look very head and shoulders-y? Sure looks like it to me. In fact, actually, there is the head and shoulders pattern. Interesting with this pattern here is that you can see, I mean, the way that you're supposed to measure the head and shoulders is top of the head down to the neckline. Lose the neckline support, and I've got 1, 2, 3 lows there to try and identify that neckline. I don't like these steep necklines. I'd almost prefer maybe that's even our head and shoulders, but that's not much of a shoulder. Anyway. And then to actually come up with price objectives, you just simply take the distance from the top of the head down to the neckline, project that off the neckline. And interestingly enough, we have this huge tail that really needs addressing. And my hunch is that head and shoulders price action is going to take us into that tail. This probably also becomes like a Wyckoff check, right? Notice that head and shoulders objective happens to line up nicely with previous market structure breakout levels. So I am thinking that things like Litecoin are needing to calm down here a bit, and we might even find that things like Ethereum, I don't think the head and shoulders is complete here. It looks like we're coming into a neckline, so we might get a nice little counter trend rally there. But you can argue that is looking kind of double toppy there. So question is why? Aside from the fundamental drivers in the crypto names themselves, was even putting out comments about this total index, basically the whole crypto market. So I don't think it's necessarily a Bitcoin. I definitely think Litecoin has a big driver in all of this. I don't know why that's so zoomed in. How can I reset that? There we go. So here's the total market cap. This is just a lower time frame chart. And again, and that tweet that I actually put out here this morning, can I find 3 reasons to justify a trade? And, we got trade location, good old reload zones. There's bear divs forming as this was making new highs here. And then, of course, everybody knows that's a nice little inside bar reversal there. So we've got location, we've got indicator confirmation, and of course, we have a price structure to work with. I get the feeling kind of like Litecoin, maybe Ethereum's in the process of carving this out. This probably turns into some sort of neckline down here at about 1.1 trillion, whatever the hell that number is. Then we rally back up. Maybe there's a shoulder against this high somewhere up back up here, probably like reload zones kind of thing. And then we're going to find out whether this thing's really topped or not. And the problem with this chart here is that this is a V bottom. And you also notice that there's a bit of a price gap right there. So that gap probably should be filled in at some point down the road. And why did this market rally to begin with? The only reason why I saw that this market rallied at all, keep in mind I was on vacation and I took my vacation. I was like, okay, nothing's really going on. Market shouldn't bottom until sort of, second or third week of July. And then all of a sudden this damn rally off of V bottom came out of nowhere, which is typical. Markets will do any old damn thing they want. But, it's so ironic that the SEC talks about Bitcoin and wash trading and Binance and Tether and the fraud that all is. Well, I hate to say it, folks, this whole counter trend rally was nothing more than a fraud. This was all about, the Bitcoin ETF and Larry Fink. I mean, was that guy susceptible to manipulating markets? You tell me, right? And literally right off of V bottom, just straight line up into actually places where if you did want to short, you would short. And then we start seeing signs of exhaustion. So ironically enough, very cliche. And the problem is that's not a sustainable bottom. V bottom's never sustainable. At some point we probably should see this tested. So, is this a function of market manipulation around that Larry Fink ETF nonsense bullshit? market manipulated. Remember we talked about BITO and all the options that were needed to, they had to get the market back up to 17,000 because there was a massive option wall there that they really didn't want to have to pay out. I mean, it's just stunningly manipulated. And then to add insult to injury, would it make sense that crypto should maybe top out here with other things that are going on in the market? And one thing I noticed this morning while I was going through the regs was this jumped out at me. And oh boy, you should all know what setup this is. Bullish bot, all that kind of fun talk. And this stock is in the oil services industry. And I think I've, actually, I don't know whether that low's lower, is it? Let's see, what's that? That's $5.45 and $5.43. Oh, so it's 2 cents lower. So anyway, one low, I don't know, two lows. Could you call that a third low? I don't know, maybe. Do we need maybe another low in here? Could be. But anyway you shake it, it sure looks like a W. And this is in the oil services industry. And they always say that the oil stocks always move ahead of the commodity. This is actually one of the bigger oil services companies. Actually interesting, it says Switzerland here. I never noticed that before. I don't know, Transocean is based out of Switzerland? Anyway, point of the matter here is, you've heard me talk about this in the past. Usually energy prices and tech stocks move in opposites. And of course, you know, we've all seen what the silly tech stocks have done over the past month or so. Are they susceptible? Are they maybe ripe for a bit of a pullback here? You tell me, eh? I mean, I don't know whether that turns into a double top failure. It's interesting how we have a doji right up against these old highs. If this rolls over and we am out, well, you know, what are you supposed to think when the market's smiling at you? So what could be one of the sort of main drivers to cause this? Well, it might just be that oil goes and bottoms, and I don't like the look of this. This looks very, very suspicious. You know, if we start doing things like fogging bombs off of this range, well, what a surprise. Market's basically saying it wants to go up and test that old high there. And, you know, you probably have a bunch of people who are bullish. Then as soon as we get up into here, that's probably where you're going to see people step up and, you know, maybe even strap on shorts. If nothing else, then just take some profits, you know, trading ranges. So that it was kind of a very long-winded sort of way to get to this. But what I think's happening here is it looks to me like, you know, crypto as a tech proxy is a little bit skittish here and maybe wondering whether the oil and energy markets need to come back here. And I get the impression that that's the case. I mean, first and foremost, like we said, we had, you know, actually technically bearish market structure here. I mean, now we've got M's against the old highs. We had inside bar failures there. And off of like the daily charts, I strapped on just little sort of demo shorts here for the community. Here is the 4-hour short. This short here level, this particular trade, that was off of the daily inside bar failure right there. So I am working that right now, down $8. But you know, as I showed you, the real sharpshooter trades, if you really know what you're doing at this game. I mean, maybe I don't know. But these guys up here that were able to hit these reload shorts here, reload zone in reload zone, and then again, reload zone in reload zone. I mean, gee whiz, that was a killer trade. And I thought it was fascinating. It is well after the fact, so I think we're allowed to talk about it. But good old TRI's algo actually rolled over bearishly here, so we're out of longs. But interesting how Bitcoin's trying to W out here. So I get the impression, I don't know whether it's so much Bitcoin, because actually when you look at things like the dominance, you actually see that Bitcoin is dominating, right? Actually, it's not huge, but you know, it is making higher highs and higher lows. So the total market looking iffy. Actually, this is all looking somewhat positive now. It's looking a hell of a lot better than it was first thing this morning. But I think it's all on this idea, and this is just me, that the commodities markets actually might come screaming back here in the third quarter of this year. Now, in about an hour and a half, we will have the Fed minutes for this most recent meeting. They've been talking about how they want to continue raising rates. And they still, sort of reckon that they have 2 interest rate increases to come still. I wouldn't be surprised if they do see that potential for commodity strength. And also too, I thought it was interesting. This is another sort of side comment, that if you start to put all the pieces together, kind of makes sense what we're seeing here. So would it make sense for oil markets to start firming up? We had been doing a lot of sort of studies on the site. This is the first 2 weeks window of Q3. So we want to be watching the sector rotation and where the money managers are putting their money to work. We want to be watching these money flows fairly closely here over the next week or two. So as I had sort of said before, where are we on the economic cycle? Tech, discretionary, consumer communication services all did very, very well that past cycle. And of course, NASDAQ went zooming up. Are we sort of moving along the spectrum? One of our level 2 instructors, Marat, was putting out comments sort of along the lines of the industrial sector. He does a lot of work with relative rotation, and he's seeing that the industrial sector is coming back very hard here. And he even had a name for everybody on the site to chew on. Yeah, there you go. There's a nice little free biscuit we'll throw to the public. You can see his chart here. This happens to be a stock in the industrial sector, SGBX. And then also too, that sort of aligns with what we're seeing out of the dashboard and data. There is the industrial sector. It's one of the strongest sectors. There is the basic materials. That's also one of the strongest sectors. Interesting, XLP is still coming up here. Consumer staples. Consumer staples will be a little bit further along that study. So I don't know, maybe we'll see that calm down a little bit. But I guess the whole point of this is XLI, like we saw, that's the industrials. There's consumer staples there. And of course, materials. You've heard me barking about gold stocks recently. Gold stocks look really, really interesting in here. And of course, you just heard me talking about the energy market and how that oil services stock is spitting out a bot setup. So you can kind of see, like right out of the gate, starting off the quarter, we're getting a lot of sort of, hey, I want to be paying attention to industrials. I want to be paying attention to the basic materials like, the gold. That Kawasaki, I think that's his name, the rich dad, poor dad. I think that's the guy who did that. Anyway, he's been all bullish about silver. And of course, everybody's been teasing him and making fun of him because he's so bullish of silver. And of course, silver got smoked there in the selling man walk away window. But he might be vindicated now, because I think I saw that silver was coming charging back here aggressively here this morning as well. Yeah, so you got silver over here just zooming. So maybe he's going to be vindicated now. I don't know. But you can see higher highs and higher lows. So this is the lower time frame chart. So probably looking out over a higher sort of time window. Maybe Mr. I don't know. See, we've gone beyond. Did we go beyond 66? That's awfully close. I guess this is off of a full range chart. But is this going to be setting up some sort of bullish bot to take us to the moon, and he's going to be vindicated? Could be. Also, too, like I said there a moment ago, I noticed that the gold market was firming up. A lot of gold stocks looking a lot better. So we got like the industrials spitting up bullish action. the commodities, the oil stocks. Actually, I didn't really look. Let's see what gold looks like here this morning. Gold's been all over the place here today, actually. Up, down, up, down, up, down. So you can see it was quite a bit higher. You know, this is a V bottom. It is an empire. We rallied into moving average resistance and have paused. So I don't know whether that guy's ready to go yet. Probably got to have maybe another week or two to try and put in some sort of bottom here. But keep an eye out for that. But you can see there's the crude oil, right? I mean, Jesus, that looks bullish. And if anything, are we at time? All right, thank you, sir. Right. So if anything, you know, if this oil market does take off here, well, then probably the metals have to take a bit of a pause through that. But you know, that first 2 weeks, we're into that window. I see a lot of bullish action out of various different commodity related names. And so that's what sort of gives me a bit of pause with regard to crypto. And specifically, I think with regard to sort of like this total market cap, that's a terrible place to buy. And I do remember recently, I've been talking to you guys, this is just horrible trade location for like things like Bitcoin. Can't justify buying that. If anything, well, this is our algo trading page. Let's see if we can find another one. Yeah. So if anything, I could justify actually hunting shorts. I'm off $11 on this trade off of this particular inside bar reversal. But you see, we got another inside bar reversal coming out of last night. And actually, I even put a tweet out this saying that this level right here was the tell for me, 30,637. And actually, I thought it was interesting because there was another community that I guess started up from a whole bunch of TRIers. Now they're having a lot of fun. And the tweets that were being put out were, holy crap, I'm hearing a ton of bullishness out of these guys. That doesn't sound right. And then I saw this and I went, well, you know, if it breaks through this 36, 37, all those bulls better be damn careful. And sure enough, here we go. And then what's interesting is if you actually look down through the screen, you tell me, I mean, do you see more green or red on the screen? Look at all this. Ooh, that's just a sea of red. There's a couple greens that are on here. I mean, they're not like the big blue chip names. They're probably just like individual names that people are ramping. But I am seeing a hell of a lot of red in crypto space, right? There's a good sort of cross section of a whole bunch of reds and stuff. There's a whole bunch more red. So I get the feeling, you know, the breadth market, like I said, it rolled over a few days ago. And I think, I don't know whether it's 2 days or 3 days or something, but I have to pause. I can't talk about the signals in real time, but I think I showed you earlier, the signal fired there like 2 or 3 days ago, and it, you know, it's performing quite nicely. In fact, I think I even put out a tweet to that effect earlier today. So now that I have this inside bar reversal here on Bitcoin as well, I mean, this is just a massive brick wall. Maybe the market goes up and takes out those highs, but as you can see, a betting man, I'd actually bet to the short side here, not the long side. So anyway, here's what it is. So just to finish off this free summary, like I said, we're going to try and encourage people to come over to the after party. If you do have questions, let's go and interact there. I think we can probably just leave today as a Q&A session. Through the summer, one of our SOF OGs is on break right now, so we didn't have a meeting last night. It was pretty quiet. And of course, 4th of July holiday weekend, nobody really wanted to turn up, the Americans. So we didn't really do anything there. But what I wanted to just mention was, you know, just being demonstrator of best practices. You know, every morning I wake up, I go through my regular routine. So you should see this very consistent out of me. Computer doing okay. Diet and exercise, okay. Diet, exercise, not so much. Sleep, okay. Back from break. What's the news headlines? China's soft. Remember, I've told you, probably a good idea to keep an eye on Japan. That's probably the direction North America is going to go through the day. So Japan was kind of soft yesterday, soft today, and you can see most of the world equities are soft. So my hunch is the U.S. market's going to be soft. We do have the Fed minutes coming out here, though, in about an hour and a half. And I think, actually, yeah, you don't see it here. But if we go to the news headlines now, you can see they're talking about stocks mixed ahead of FOMC minutes. So we got the Dow off 100 points. NASDAQ tech stocks, seem to be catching a bit of a bid, but everybody else in the world was pretty negative. I'd be really surprised if the stock market actually finished strong here today. And also too, if I understand correctly, the Fed still, I don't think they're going to change their talk about wanting to continue to raise rates. And if that oil market takes off, oh boy, here comes another big wave of inflation. So that's sort of the news that I saw coming out. Economy is weak, but unfortunately, I don't think we've actually put the whole inflation debate quite to bed just yet. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. The only other thing I'd say, like specific econs that you might want to keep an eye on through the day. Very little coming out of the market here, like actual data wise. First thing this morning, of course, we had those factory orders, what I showed you. Kind of soft in expectations. I took the screenshot first thing this morning, and there's the FOMC minutes. That's what everybody's waiting for here, and that comes out in about an hour and a half. So you might find in about 2 hours, everything looks completely different. I doubt it, but you might. All right. So I think we'll pop on over to the after party. Just if you were interested, we did have a bunch of levels coming in on the gold and the oil. Didn't have any divs set up on the lower time frame charts, so I didn't have any day trades that set up this morning. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think that was the right idea because oil here is continuing to press higher, so I'm glad I didn't fade that. The gold did move higher here, like we said, into moving average resistance, but I just didn't get anything set up. The market ran straight up in a very typical first day of the back from trade, ran straight up and then straight back down. I actually had a little bit of a signal come in down here. You can see the bull div did form, but I wasn't hunting longs there today. I was more interested in hunting shorts against all these highs, but I just didn't get anything set up, so I didn't do anything. All right, so there's your market summary. We'll head on over, chat a little bit in the after party, and maybe answer a few questions. Maybe because it's sort of first day back after a holiday weekend, maybe it's just a late video session here today. Okay, leave it at that. Have yourselves a great day. We'll try and do after what am I trying to say here? We'll try and do a Coinigy show with the good people at Coinigy tonight. So if you are in North America and you can tune in for that, that's usually about 7 o'clock Central Time, 5 o'clock Pacific. I think that's when we do it. So maybe keep your eyes peeled for that, and we can talk lots of crypto for free in that show this evening, and maybe we can figure out why we lost our monetization stuff again. So anyway, but usually we do those shows on the Coinigy channel, so not TRI. Okay, have yourselves a great day. We'll see you all again hopefully soon. PMA for the win. All the best, and the only thing left for Brian to say is bye for now.